everyone, this is Almas and today we are going to study one new topic. Okay, which card is required to cast a vote? Voter ID. What is the full form of PAN card? Permanent account number. Which card is the proof of nationality? Ration card. Which card issued a unique number to every citizen in India? Of course, Aadhaar card. So let's discuss these four cards in this video. First of all, we will discuss ration card. Types of ration card. Now come on this topic and you have to pay attention about this because after this explanation I want to ask you some questions. Number one is Antyodaya ration card. This type of ration card is issued to the poorest families having no stable income. Old age men, women, unemployed people and laborers come under this category. Antyodaya ration cards are issued to such families who have the income of less than 250 per capita per month. A green colored ration card is issued to the Antyodaya beneficiaries. The AAY card holders is provided 35 kgs of rice at the rate of rupees 3 per kg. Next is BPL ration card. This type of ration card is issued to the families that live below the poverty line. In India, you will be on BPL list if your annual income is rupees 27,000 or less. It was earlier rupees 10,000 but revised in 2011 to rupees 27,000. Next is APL ration card. APL ration card is issued by the state government of the people who live above the defined poverty line. Anyone can apply for this ration card and there is no annual income limit under this category. Now, come on the next topic, color-wise ration card. So what are the color-wise ration cards? Number one is blue ration card. Blue ration card are issued to families above poverty line in the state. Special subsidies are provided to these blue ration card holders. This card is used to take kerosene from ration shops on subsidy rate. Families who do not have a gas or LPG connection can apply for a blue ration card. Next is orange ration cards are. Orange ration cards are issued to those who live above the poverty line. The annual income may be different by state. Next is yellow ration card. The people far in the below poverty line category can apply for a yellow ration card. Each state may have a different annual income defined for poverty line. Different states may use different colors of BPL and APL cards. Okay, now let's discuss about voter ID card.
वो लिस्ट होती है जिसे रिलीज़ किया जाता है इलेक्शन कमीशन के द्वारा। इस लिस्ट में सभी रजिस्टर्ड वोटर्स के नाम होते हैं उस पर्टिकुलर रीजन के हिसाब से जिस रीजन को वो बिलोंग करते हैं। जो इलेक्टोरल रूल्स होते हैं वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट होते हैं। उनकी इम्पोर्टेंस को हम लोग ज़रा भी अंडरस्टेट नहीं कर सकते हैं क्योंकि ये जो इलेक्टोरल रूल्स होते हैं वो मदद करते हैं किसी भी इलेक्टोरल फ्रॉड को आइडेंटिफाई करने में। इलेक्टोरल रूल्स के द्वारा जो अथॉरिटीज़ रहती हैं उनको इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलती है कि वो वेरीफाई कर सकें किसी भी वोटर के डिटेल्स को। इलेक्टोरल रोल के द्वारा ये बात भी तय कर दी जाती है कि कोई भी व्यक्ति 2 बार वोट ना दे सके। इलेक्टोरल रोल होने की वजह से कोई भी व्यक्ति 2 बार वोट नहीं दे सकता है। यूजुअली जो इलेक्टोरल रोल्स होते हैं उनको पेपर पे ही रखा जाता है, पर रिसेंटली इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया के द्वारा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म में भी इलेक्टोरल रोल्स को अडॉप्ट किया गया है। बायोमेट्रिक टेक्नोलॉजी को इस्तेमाल करके इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इलेक्टोरल रोल्स को तैयार किया गया है। What is a voter ID कार्ड? वोटर आईडी कार्ड वो कार्ड होता है जिसे इलेक्शन कमीशन के द्वारा इशू किया जाता है। इसे इलेक्टोरल फ़ोटो आईडी कार्ड या फिर EPIC भी कहा जाता है। वोटर आईडी कार्ड वो डॉक्यूमेंट होता है जो कि असर्टन करता है कि आप जो हैं वो किसी देश के सिटीज़न हैं। इसका जो मुख्य रूप से इस्तेमाल किया जाता है वो इलेक्शंस में ही किया जाता है वोटिंग के लिए। जब भी म्यूनिसिपल, स्टेट या फिर जनरल इलेक्शंस को कंडक्ट किया जाता है तो वोटिंग की पर्पस से इस आईडी कार्ड को देखा जाता है। वोटर आईडी को जनरल आइडेंटिटी, एड्रेस प्रूफ, एज प्रूफ के लिए भी इस्तेमाल किया जाता है। जब भी कोई व्यक्ति सिम को खरीदता है या फिर पासपोर्ट के लिए अप्लाई करता है तब भी वोटर आईडी कार्ड इस्तेमाल किया जाता है। जो पुराने वोटर आईडी कार्ड्स थे वो ब्लैक एंड वाइट थे, पर अब जो नए वोटर आईडी कार्ड्स को इशू करा जा रहा है वो कलर्ड हैं और लेमिनेटेड हैं। वोटर आईडी कार्ड में व्यक्ति की पासपोर्ट साइज पिक्चर होती है, डेट ऑफ बर्थ होती है, व्यक्ति का एड्रेस होता है, उसे जो सीरियल नंबर अलॉट किया जाता है वो होता है, एक होलोग्राम स्टिकर होता है और इसके साथ ही स्टैम्प्ड सिग्नेचर होता है जो भी अथॉरिटी उसे इशू करती है उसका। इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया के द्वारा वोटर आइडेंटिफिकेशन को मैंडेटरी बना दिया गया है जब बात आती है पोल्स के टाइम की। इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया के द्वारा जो वोटर आईडी कार्ड आपको इशू किया गया है उस वोटर आईडी कार्ड को आपको शो करना होता है जब भी आप वोट देने के लिए जाते हैं। इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया के द्वारा इस बात को कंपलसरी कर दिया गया है। अगर किसी व्यक्ति के पास में वोटर आईडी कार्ड है तो उसका मतलब ये नहीं होता कि उसको वोट करने दिया जाएगा। यहाँ पर ये बात भी ज़रूरी हो जाती है कि आपका नाम इलेक्टोरल रोल पर भी मौजूद हो, उसके पश्चात ही आपको वोट करने दिया जाएगा। अगर एक बार आपका नाम इलेक्टोरल रोल पे मौजूद होता है और आपके पास में ऐसा कोई डॉक्यूमेंट है जो कि इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया के द्वारा कंफर्म किया गया है कि अगर ये डॉक्यूमेंट आपके पास होता है तो आप वोट कर सकेंगे, जैसे आपका वोटर आईडी कार्ड या फिर कोई अन्य डॉक्यूमेंट जो कि ईसीआई के द्वारा अप्रूव किया गया है, तो ऐसे समय पर आप वोट कर पाएंगे। वोट कास्ट करने के लिए 11 डॉक्यूमेंट्स को बताया गया है इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया के द्वारा कि अगर किसी व्यक्ति के पास में वोटर आईडी कार्ड मौजूद नहीं होता है तो यहाँ पर आपके पास और भी ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल होते हैं। पहला है पासपोर्ट, दूसरा है ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस, सर्विस आइडेंटिटी कार्ड्स जिसके अंदर फोटोग्राफ भी हो जो कि इशू किया गया है एम्प्लॉयज़ को सेंट्रल या फिर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा, पीएसयू के द्वारा या फिर पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी के द्वारा। पासबुक जिसमें आपका फ़ोटोग्राफ भी मौजूद हो जो कि इशू करी गई है स्टेट बैंक के द्वारा या फिर पोस्ट ऑफिस के द्वारा। पैन कार्ड या फिर स्मार्ट कार्ड जो कि इशू किया गया है आरजीआई के द्वारा एनपीआर के अंडर। मनरेगा जॉब कार्ड, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस स्मार्ट कार्ड जो कि इशू किया गया है स्कीम ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ लेबर के अंडर। पेंशन डॉक्यूमेंट जिसके अंदर फ़ोटोग्राफ भी हो। ऑफिशियल आइडेंटिटी कार्ड्स जो कि इशू करे गए हैं एमपीज़ के द्वारा, एमएलएज़ के द्वारा, एमएलसीज़ के द्वारा, या फिर आधार कार्ड।
We will learn about PAN card, structure and validation of PAN card, need for a PAN card, and to know your PAN card. PAN stands for Permanent Account Number. This is how a PAN card looks like. It is a 10-digit alphanumeric combination issued to all juristic entities. It is issued by the Indian Income Tax Department. The most important purpose of allotting PAN card is for the purpose of identification and to track all the monetary information of that entity. Facts about PAN card. PAN is unique, national and permanent. It is unaffected by the change of address. It is illegal to own more than one PAN. Who all can get a PAN card? Person, company, HUF that is Hindu Undivided Family, trust and many other bodies. Why do we need a PAN card? PAN card acts as an important photo ID proof. PAN card helps in transactions like opening a bank account, buying or selling of assets, etc. PAN card is used for accounting purposes on receivable taxable salary, aids in filing of income tax returns, used as a documentary proof for opening Demat account for share trading. It is used as a documentary proof for bank withdrawals exceeding rupees 50,000. It is a tool that helps the IT department to keep a check over tax defaulters. This is done by indirectly tracking their credit history. Used as a documentary proof for availing TDS, that is, tax deductions at source. Documentary evidence to apply for passport, address changes, and for obtaining other such relevant documents. For fixed deposits of more than 50,000. Payment to hotel bills and travel expenses exceeding rupees 25,000. Application for issue of a credit card. Application of telephone connection. PAN structure is as follows. First 5 characters are letters, next 4 numerals, last character letter. The first 3 letters are sequence of alphabets from AAA to ZZZ. The fourth character informs about the type of the holder of the card. Each SS is uniquely P for person, C for company, H for HUF, that is Hindu Undivided Family, F for firm, A for AOP, that is Association of Persons, T for trust, B for BOI, that is Body of Individuals, L for local authority, J for artificial judicial person, and G for government. The fifth character of the PAN is the first character of the surname or the last name of the person in the case of a personal PAN card. In the image shown, the surname is Yadav. Therefore, the fifth character is Y. The name of the entity, trust, society or organization in the case of company, HUF, firm or any other types of PAN cards. In the image shown, the name of the trust is Shanos. Therefore, the fifth character is S. The last character is an alphabetic check digit. The date of issue of the PAN card is mentioned at the right hand side of the PAN card. You can verify or validate new and existing PAN numbers by visiting the following link. Now let us summarize. In this tutorial, we have learnt about PAN card, structure and validation of PAN card, need for a PAN card, and to know your PAN card. Watch the video available at the following link. It summarizes the spoken tutorial project. If you do not have good bandwidth, you can download and watch it. The spoken tutorial project team conducts workshops using spoken tutorials, gives certificates to those who pass an online test. For more details, please write to contact@spoken-tutorial.org. Spoken Tutorial project is a part of the Talk to a Teacher project. It is supported by the National Mission on Education through ICT MHRD Government of India. More information on this mission is available at spoken-tutorial.org/nmeict-intro. We have come to the end of this tutorial. This is Aarti signing off from IIT Bombay.
So let's look what exactly was the Aadhaar bill. So Aadhaar was Aadhaar Targeted Delivery of Financial and Other Subsidies, Benefits and Services Bill 2016. So this shows that Aadhaar bill was passed in the year 2016. So what question could be framed from this, that in which year Aadhaar Act was passed? So Aadhaar bill was passed in the year 2016. Next one is, it was passed as the money bill in 2016. It's absolutely true that it was passed as the money bill in 2016. Now what is money bill and what all other bills are there in the parliament, I'll be discussing after completing about the Aadhaar Act 2016. Next one is it provides legal backing to the Aadhaar Unique Identification Number project. Now this act, which is more popularly known as Aadhaar Act 2016, it will provide the statutory backing for this transfer of subsidies and benefits to the eligible people having Aadhaar number. So everyone who has been linked with these schemes, they need to get the Aadhaar number, which is the Aadhaar Unique Identification Number. An Aadhaar card would be issued which has this 12-digit Unique Identification Number, and it will be issued by UIDAI. Three things: Aadhaar card would be issued. Next is the 12-digit UID. Another one, the issuing authority is UIDAI. And what is the full form of this UIDAI? So UIDAI stands for the Unique Identification Authority of India. Unique Identification Authority of India. So full form might be asked in the examination regarding this UIDAI authority, and this is the statutory authority which was established under the provision of this Aadhaar Act 2016. Under which ministry this UIDAI has been established? So under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, the UIDAI statutory authority has been established, and earlier it was functioning as an attached office of the then Planning Commission, and Planning Commission has now been changed to Niti Aayog. So UIDAI issues the Aadhaar identification number, and this UIDAI is the authority under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Next statement regarding the Aadhaar Act 2016 on the provision under this Aadhaar Act 2016 is every resident shall be entitled to obtain an Aadhaar number. Now, who is the resident? So, individual who has been residing in India for a period of amounting to about 182 days or more in the 12 months immediately preceding the date of application for enrollment. So whether you are an NRI or foreign national, if you have stayed in India for more than 182 days, you will be eligible for this Aadhaar card. But issuance of Aadhaar card does not make you does not get you the citizenship of India. So these are the provisions regarding the Aadhaar Act 2016. Next, as I mentioned that the Aadhaar Act was passed as the money bill, and there was much controversy regarding by the opposition for this money bill. So first of all, a bill has to be initiated, then it has to be passed by both the houses. The assent has to be provided by the president, and then it turns out to be law. So there are 4 categories of bill which are being introduced in the parliament. The first one is the money bill, and very important point regarding the money bill is that it should fall in line with the Article 110 of the Constitution. So this bill deals with the borrowings, consolidated, auditing, accounting, etc. So what happens is a money bill can originate in Lok Sabha. So this originates in Lok Sabha after the recommendation of the president. But even if it gets rejected in the Rajya Sabha, the bill is deemed to be passed. So what happened with the Aadhaar Act 2016 was that it was introduced in the Lok Sabha, then moved to the Rajya Sabha, but it was rejected in Rajya Sabha. But still it was passed by the Lok Sabha as the money bill. Next is the financial bill. So any dealing with the revenues or the expenditure but not certified as the money bill by the Speaker of Lok Sabha, then it is considered as the financial bill, and it should be passed by both the houses with the simple majority. So for the money bill, only the approval of Lok Sabha is okay, but for the financial bill, simple majority of both the houses is required. Another one is the constitutional amendment bill, or we could say special bill. So Article 368 deals with the guidelines for this bill, and any bill that proposes to add any provisions or reappealing or existing provisions or altering in the existing one of the amendments in the constitution, then it is being passed as the constitutional amendment bill, and for this 2/3 of the majority of both the houses is required. Last one is the ordinary bill. When the bill does not fall in the category of any of these 3 bills, then it is being considered as the ordinary bill. Now coming back to the Aadhaar Act 2016, what happened was the opposition had some provisions which they were not complying with. So they wanted the bill to be passed as an ordinary bill and not as the money bill. Now covering all the aspects, there was this Supreme Court verdict in the year 2018, in September 2018. So there was this 4-1 majority which upheld the validity of the Aadhaar Act. Also, one important point regarding Aadhaar Act is that it is the world's largest biometric identification exercise. Now, coming to the Supreme Court verdict, so the bill was upheld with the 4-1 majority, and however, there were some provisions which were being struck down by the Supreme Court. So, first thing to notice regarding the Supreme Court verdict was it upheld the constitutional validity of the Aadhaar card. Next, section 57 has been removed. Now, section 57, I'll be talking about this section 57 later. Next is the consent of parents or guardians will be essential for the enrollment of children. So, if the children has been enrolled for Aadhaar card, then the consent of the parents and guardians will be essential for the enrollment of their children. Another important point regarding the consent of parents and guardians was that after attaining majority, such children they will be given an option to exit from the Aadhaar project if they choose to. So the consent was required and there was an exit option as well on attaining the majority of the children. Another important point is not compulsory for the school admissions. So Aadhaar card is not compulsory for the school admissions. Earlier there was this mandatory requirement, but now it has been removed by Supreme Court, and it was given that the child between the age of 6 to 14, they have the fundamental right to education, and this fundamental right has been given in Article 21A of the Constitution. So what all you have got to know that the children between the age of 6 to 14 have the fundamental right to education as per the Article 21A of the Constitution. A straight question might come in the examination regarding the fundamental right of education, and that is Article 21A. Another important point is that it is not mandatory to link the Aadhaar with the bank account. So there was one amendment made to the Rule 9 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So there was this amendment in the Money Laundering Act 2005. Now it has been declared unconstitutional. So after looking at the Supreme Court verdict, it has become now important to note whether Aadhaar card is required or not, or for what all purposes Aadhaar card is mandatory, or for what all purposes it is not required. So the Aadhaar card is mandatory for the section 139AA that deals with the allotment of PAN card. So if you want to get the PAN card, then you need the Aadhaar card, and which is this section. So section 139AA defines that Aadhaar card is mandatory for the allotment of PAN card. Similarly, it was upheld that the section 139AA that Aadhaar card is mandatory for filing of income tax return. So this is the link structure. If you have PAN card, then only you can file the income tax returns. And for PAN card, you need Aadhaar card. So ultimately, for filing the income tax returns, you need an Aadhaar card. Next very important point is section 7, which says that if you want to get the benefit, subsidy or service under any of the government welfare schemes, then Aadhaar card is must. So these are the areas where we will be requiring Aadhaar card, or the Aadhaar card is mandatory for allotment of PAN card, filing of income tax returns, and the subsidy of, if you are availing any subsidy or benefit under the government welfare schemes. So in what all areas the Aadhaar card is not mandatory? So what happened when the Aadhaar Act 2016 was passed, the Aadhaar card was made mandatory for almost all of the things. Therefore, after the Supreme Court verdict, there are these provisions where you are not required to have the Aadhaar card. The first one is the section 33(1), which actually prohibits with the disclosure of the information including the identity and the authentication information except when it is ordered by the district judge or the higher court. So section 31 deals with the disclosure. Next is the section 57, where the Aadhaar card is not mandatory. So Aadhaar could not be used by any body, corporate or person to establish the identity of an individual. So what happened was, it was made mandatory to seed the biometric ID with the SIMs and the banks when the Aadhaar Card 2016 Act was passed. But the section 57 was struck down by the Supreme Court, because under this provision what was happening was that the private companies like the Paytm and the Airtel Payments Bank, they were sorting the Aadhaar details from the customers. As I've already mentioned that the Aadhaar card is not required for the bank accounts. For opening new bank accounts, you can just get with another proof. For the SIM cards and bank accounts, the Aadhaar card is not mandatory. Even for the mutual fund investments, I've already explained about the school admissions. The Aadhaar card is not mandatory for the school admissions as well. Earlier, there was this compulsory provisions given by the CBSE, NEET, and the UGC that the Aadhaar card is mandatory for giving any exams conducted by these authorities. But now the provision has been removed, and the Aadhaar card is not mandatory. You could just go away with the any other proof. Also, the consent of the parents and the guardians is required when we are talking about the children, and even they have the option to exit on attaining majority. So recently the government has decided to amend the Telegraph Act and Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Why? As when section 57 was struck down by the Supreme Court. So what happened earlier, the Aadhaar card was made mandatory. Now then the Supreme Court decided to go away with the section 57. So to overcome this lacuna, they have decided that they would be providing legal backing, and on the voluntarily, so after voluntarily or after the consent of the person, the biometric ID and the details and the Aadhaar data could be given to the private authorities as well, giving it the legal backing. Another very important point, and a direct question could be framed, that there was a proposal for the imprisonment of up to 10 years for attempting to hack Aadhaar data. Currently, this is 3 years. The imprisonment is 3 years, but there's a provision to raise the punishment up to 10 years. One question which might pop up in your mind is that what about the already collected Aadhaar data? Because there was that time when nobody was opening the bank accounts or issuing the SIM cards without the Aadhaar card. They have already collected the Aadhaar card data, but there was no provisions given by the Supreme Court, and it remains the grey area. So the judgment does not clearly state that entities such as banks and mobile companies will have to delete the collected information or not. So this remains the grey area regarding the already collected Aadhaar card data.
I hope you people understand these topics, and if you are having any problem, you can revise one more time with your beyond syllabus. And your homework is you have to note down 10 points of all the topics in your notebook and take help to your beyond syllabus. Till then, goodbye.